Hey, how's it going YouTube? This is your boy Chosen and welcome to this week's episode review. I do gotta say before we start, I know this episode may have not been what people expected. I'm on the same boat as well, but this is what you get with the anime because like I said so many times, the anime is always going to flesh out the story the manga presents us with. In the manga, everything took place this episode in like a couple pages, yet the anime added in more dialogue, another Kara scene that we seem to be getting like every episode, which I am loving. I love how we're getting more on Kara even though it is just dialogue. Small things like getting to know the characters is honestly great. And I know how people want to see them fight, of course, but without any base or understanding for why they are doing what they're doing. A perfect example is like Pain. If you understand his backstory and ideology, well, let's be real, we can't really blame the guy. Anyways, I'll speak more on this episode as we go on, so in that case, episode 185 begins after the events of 184, after Mujino sacrifices himself for the team to escape. They hold out on what seems to be an abandoned building in means to recover and come up with a quick plan. Sarada heals Konohamaru with the same foam we saw Sumire put on Boruto, which Konohamaru then gives Katasuke praise for creating something so useful. Boruto then, just like his father, gets pretty emotional about a side character's death. I said this last week, but comparing Konohamaru's reaction to Boruto shows how much Konohamaru has matured as a shinobi, especially when you know Konohamaru used to be that kind of person at Boruto's age. Dying is part of the contract when it comes to being a ninja. Sacrifices happen all the time. Konohamaru understands because he's experienced this. He may not have been in the 4th Great War, but the results of it caused a lot of people to die. On top of this, at a young age, he also lost Lord Third and Asuma Sensei. Boruto is young now, and just like his father at his age, doesn't want to just accept things like this. But over time, characters like Mujino probably won't affect Boruto as much the more he continues to grow and the darker the series gets. Another thing I want to point out is how Konohamaru tells Boruto that sulking isn't going to do anything here, and how they need to continue onwards. Boruto tells him he gets that, but says that all this is too much for him. Back in Naruto's day, stuff like this happened all the time. People were dying left and right, but because of Naruto and the sacrifice of so many others, peace was an option for Boruto's era, so he's not used to just seeing people die like this. We look at the quadruplets that were aiming for the Hashirama cell. They were prepared for death. It was normal for them. They understand this is just what it is. Not everyone gets their happily ever after. So I like how Boruto is now starting to see the world a bit different, and that at any moment, any of his allies can go, and this is just one of the many paths of being a shinobi. But anyways, back to the episode. After the opening, the team discuss how they can't believe a war veteran, someone who was once on their side, just completely did a 180 and is now working with an organization that has evil intent. The team goes on to praise him, saying his skills on top of the fact that his body is basically a scientific ninja tool are just terrifying. Konohamaru makes it clear that regardless of who the enemy is, they must deliver the data he obtained from the container in order to find out who is inside and possibly what Kara's true intentions are. Mitsuki points out how hard even getting to Konoha would be due to Ao potentially being close by. They wouldn't be able to just simply run over to Konoha without any casualties. That's when Konohamaru proposes to sacrifice himself for the sake of the data and his students making it out alive. Of course, as we can all expect, Boruto says fuck that and tries to convince Konohamaru that if they all go at him, they can beat him. Konohamaru disagrees and tells Boruto to think calmly and not through emotion, as he tells him that he's obviously not okay with the circumstances they are in, but what needs to get done needs to happen. And just like I said last week, which to be honest also happened in the manga, Katasuke speaks up and proposes that he instead is served as a bait for the team to get away, as he reveals to the young team that the reason Kara possesses such scientific ninja tools and the reasoning for Mujino's death is circled back to him being caught in a genjutsu by Ao. Which also makes me question now, why did Ao truly want to see Katasuke episodes back when he visited the Leaf Village? If I'm not mistaken, he did say it was just a checkup, but was that really it? Boruto asks if this also took place when he tricked him into using the scientific ninja tools at the Chunin exams, and Katasuke partly confirms this, saying yes, but also no, as genjutsu can also amplify existing traits. Which I do honestly see now that I think about it. Katasuke was way more energetic about his work before, whereas now he probably still has the same passion for it, but in a more calm and mature tone. So him being desperate to show the world his work was the lasting effects of the genjutsu, which also led him to deceive Boruto, knowing that it was wrong. Boruto then tells Katasuke exactly what everyone has been telling Boruto the past few episodes, and that ninja tech is only seen as something wrong if that's how you use it. If your intentions with the tech is to help people, then there's nothing wrong with them. Boruto tells Katasuke that he used to hate them because of what happened in the Chunin exams. His intentions with them were for the wrong reason, so because of that, he only sees them as evil creations. But after visiting the facility that Sumire was at, he also saw another side to them. And that's the good side, how these ninja techs can also be used to help people. Katasuke creating these gadgets can be seen as a double-edged sword. They can rather help people or fall into the wrong hands and do the exact opposite. Boruto says that if the tech are only shown to the world within a villain's opponent's grasp, they'll hate them without ever knowing anything about them. On top of this, if they allow Ao to keep roaming around, he could end up killing more people. So as shinobi, it's their duty to stop him together. And oh boy, now comes probably one of the most troll scenes in all of Boruto, and of course it involves a Kara scene. After the maintenance, Amado had Delta and Code perform. Delta desires to try out her body in hopes of seeing how much more stable she is compared to before. Out of nowhere, a pillar gets cut down, aiming to crush Delta, but of course, Delta pulls out the Uno reverse card and destroys it instead. We see that it was Code who cut down the pillar, which sparks some heat in Delta, who challenges him to a fight if that's what he was after. Code claps back by saying you may never need to undergo another maintenance again after this. And bro, I thought this was it. I thought we were finally gonna get a taste of even a little taste of Code's abilities, anything. But then of course, the boy model pulls up with his deep ass voice and calms the two down.
喧嘩なら買ってやるわ。メンテした体のテスト、あんたでしてあげる。おいで。
もう一生メンテもいらなくなるかもね。
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Wait.
Everybody calm down.
取り消せよ、その言葉。
へえ、図星疲れてカチンときたの？ダサいわね。
取り消せよ！Yes! No! Fuck! Shit!
The reasoning for Code even trying to ambush Delta was because he thought she was the one possibly behind the airship crashing. Delta denies this and points a finger at Code, stating that he seemed happier ever since the airship crashed, which is where they almost fought. Amado comes in and says that the point of the maintenance was to see if either one was the traitor behind this, but they came up negative. Code insists that he pursues the traitor, but Amado informs him that if he were to keep this up, Jigen would be pretty upset, which shuts up Code. Again, like I said last week, Code clearly has high praise for Jigen. Delta then states that they have no reason to not be suspicious of him. Amado says that if he was a traitor, he'd have no reason to stop them, but Delta denies this as well, stating that this could be a tactic to make them trust him more. And before our Kara scene ends, Amado makes it clear to Delta and even Code that just because the maintenance cleared them up, it doesn't mean he fully trusts them. We are then taken to Ao, who's roaming around a forest for what I presume to be him following the tracks of Team 7. All of a sudden, he is then met up with Kashin Koji, who questions his role as an outer member, asking if he still has any connection to these shinobi. Ao reassures Kashin and tells him that the shinobi in him died long ago, as he's nothing more than a tool being kept alive for science to help Kara fulfill their mission. Wow. Kashin praises him for his choice of words, but also says that it could be all talk. Of course, he could go over there and be the one to stop them, but at the same time, he wants to test Ao and see if he can really disregard his emotions to his old allies. Ao at this point is basically talking like he's a dog on a leash and tells Kashin that he'll get the job done as a scientific ninja tool. I know they may touch on this soon enough, but with Ao and Shippuden compared to who he is here are two completely different people. I don't know what happened to this man, but he must have had a little too much self-reflection time after the war. To end off the video, the team comes up with a plan to defeat Ao. Konohamaru mentions that with Ao losing the Byakugan after the war, he lost the 360 vision ability that the eye gives its user, meaning he has blind spots. On top of this, they can also distract him by forcing him to absorb ninjutsu, so while he's doing that, they can attack him from behind. They want Boruto to be the one to deliver the final blow, obviously. We are then reminded of the fact that Boruto cannot use his Chakrablade for long as it drains his chakra too quick, meaning he'll have to pop it out at the last second when striking only. And that pretty much is where the episode ends. Like I said, I know people were expecting the actual fight, but I guess the anime really wanted this episode to focus on showing Boruto's development when it comes to these ninja tools. Could it have been done in a shorter manner? Yes, to be honest. But on the plus side, the fight that could have happened this week wouldn't have been left on a cliffhanger halfway, so it has its positives and negatives. And on that note, this is where I'm going to have to end this review. Let me know what you guys thought of Boruto episode 185 in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching all the way until the end, and I'll catch you on the next one.